With API Center's VS Code extension, you can generate a Client SDK for your APIs using your favorite language. I'll show you that and more in this video. If you want to follow along in this exercise, you can visit aka.ms/API Center sample to access the reference sample that will get you up and running in a few minutes. I'll link to that in the description box. We have two applications. One is an API deployed on Azure Container Apps that returns random weather data, that is date, temperature in both degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit, and a summary. Two is a React web app that should display data from this API. The API is already deployed, but I'm going to run the web app locally for this demo. I'll open the sample and navigate to the web app, then start it using npm start. As you can see, we have an empty table because the API isn't integrated into the web app. I'll show you how to do that. Under the docs directory, we have the Client SDK integration using Node.js exercise that contains all the steps you'll follow along in this video, so you can check it out. For this, we'll need the Microsoft Kyoto and API Center extensions installed on VS Code. I already have an API Center resource in my subscription with my existing APIs, so I just need to register this weather API into my API Center instance. I'll download the OpenAPI specification file. Then right-click to register. I'll pass in a name for my API, select the type, assign a version, select a stage, add a definition of type OpenAPI, and import from my spec file. My new API will be registered in my API Center, and I'll see it show up right here. I'll navigate to the definition, right-click, and choose Generate API Clients. This will open Microsoft Kyoto, and I'll see a list of my endpoints and choose the ones that I want to include in the SDK. I'll respond to the prompts by providing a name for the client class, a namespace, provide an output path, and then choose my language of choice, which will be TypeScript. In a second or two, my client will be generated in my source directory. In our weather list components, we will add code which sets up an anonymous authentication provider and a fetch request adapter for the weather client. We then add a get weather forecast function which pulls the weather data from the weather forecast module through the get method. Then we have our hooks that fetch data and update the weather state, and we will display this in our table. With those minor changes, I will refresh my web app. We see an error that the client is looking for a file named index.js, but we generated this using TypeScript. So I'll just update that file name, and now as expected, we have the app loading data from our API. And if I refresh this page, you'll see a new set of randomly generated weather data. And that's it. This sample also includes the exercise using .NET, so if that's your stack, please do check it out. You've successfully integrated the API Client SDK into your project. Thanks for watching. Please like and share this video, and if you have any questions or feedback, drop them in the comments section. See you in the next one.